Well, if you're a turkey hunter, you've probably been in this same situation at some point. You're set up on a couple gobblers that are hammering on the limb. They're answering your calls, they hit the ground and continue to answer your calls, but less frequently. Now you can hear there's hens with them, and shortly after, they pretty much quit gobbling. So what would you do? Probably get up and make a move right away. But here's the thing, the ridge that you're on is completely tore up with fresh turkey scratching. So now what's the call? Make a move, or give it some time and stay near all that fresh sign? Well, that's the decision I've got to make on this hunt. All right, it is the morning of May 1st, but I just got back from Iowa, hunted with Nick and Ted there, stopped in Nebraska as well, was able to get a gobbler there. So spring is rolling on, but now gonna shift gears a little bit here for the rest of the season and hunt Merriam's out west. I had virtually zero time this spring to get out and listen for birds or trying to find birds out here, but I've got one spot in mind that I'm going to here where Jake and I and Zach, and this was just after Zach messed up his knee on the ski trip, and he drove Jake and I around. We did some scouting and some shed hunting, and just so happened the spot that we went to, I found a bunch of gobbler tracks in the snow, found some spots where it looked like they'd been roosting, some feathers on the ground, so just some general turkey sign. So I marked all that sign on Onyx and kind of had that in the back of my mind. That would be a good spot to go to, get up on a high point and listen for a long ways. Good calm morning this morning. Perfect turkey hunting weather, so hopefully that scouting will have paid off. Oh, how about that? Gobble right there. Sound like two of them. Literally just stepped out of the truck. Hear two birds gobbling back up on the hill. I mean, not far, like 300, 350 yards. Gotta get geared up and get ready here. Yeah, they're hammering. It's too open over on this side. I'm gonna go around this big rock and get in some thicker timber, try to get closer. I think this is about as close as I'm gonna get. They're gobbling good. They're gonna probably get down here soon. There's fresh turkey scratching everywhere on this ridge. I think there's a real good chance I can call them up here. Just go get set up in these deadfalls over here. They're farther away that time. Pretty sure they got hens with them too. about 6:15 right now. It sounds like those birds have drifted off and are about 300 yards away down below. When I got out of the truck, these birds actually weren't that far. They roosted just down on this point. But there's all this open timber between me and them, so I made a loop to get up around this big rock and got into this thicker timber and worked my way down and got to, there's a saddle in the terrain right there, and they were kind of roosted off of that point. I might have been able to push in a little bit closer here, but it was starting to open back up. Plus, I noticed there's just scratching all over in front here. I mean, fresh scratching all across the top of this ridge. Had good cover here in these blowdowns and was probably 150 to 175 yards away from where they're roosted, where they pitched down. So I thought maybe I'd be able to call them up through this saddle, but sounds like they have moved down. It sounded like there was some hens with them. I think I'm gonna get up here and just go call real aggressive out here and try to get their attention and bring them back this way. See, it's all, I mean, this is all scratched up, this whole hillside. Those birds are down about 250, 300 yards. Yep, gobble. Answered a couple different times, but look at this, just torched. I see tracks in it. You know, just looking at the sign in here, I mean, it just makes sense that they'll go down low to begin with, especially if they're with hens, but I think they're just going to move back up at some point here. They've been answering me a bunch, so I better get back to my setup here, but I mean, this is looking good. Sequence about 5 minutes ago. Those birds just gobbled. They were definitely moved this way. Oh yeah. Yep. They're coming up this way for sure. Yes, that was beautiful. That other gobbler's still hanging around, so I'm gonna wait. I'll let him move off here and go look at my bird, but man, that worked out perfect. The shakes are settling in now. It's a cool morning, it's chilly. It's just the excitement of that encounter. Man, that was beautiful watching them come up there through this timber in the sun, gobbling, strutting. Probably 30, 32 yards, something like that. The hen hopped up on a log, and I kind of waited for the birds to start to separate because there was 3 or 4 of them in there. I waited for that other gobbler to move to the right, and this one gobbled, stuck his head out a little bit farther, and that was all I needed. Put him down. Yes. Oh man, that was fun. Go look at this gobbler here. Oh man, look at that. Beautiful. Oh yeah. Beautiful. Typical Merriams. Not much of a beard at all, but look at that. Gorgeous tail fan. And that's just an incredible hide back up in there. You know, I honestly cannot pick out where the camera is at. And where the spot where I shot this bird is, 25 yards from where I dropped a pin last February when Jake and I were in here scouting. Like I said, I mean, I figured this would be a perfect spot to come to right away. Can't beat this, man. This is awesome. Beautiful, beautiful spot. I mean, from back there, I can't even see. Okay, now I can finally see it. My setup. I mean, it blended in so well. There is no way those birds could have seen me up there, especially with the shadows coming through here now. I mean, that's just phenomenal setup. That was an awesome hunt. Well, it was a short but sweet hunt this morning. Man, that is awesome. Just a perfect start to the month of May here. But there was 2 birds in here that were hammering, and as soon as I heard where they're at, I knew exactly where I wanted to go. And it just goes to show how important even a quick scouting trip can be. And I got to where I was probably 150 to 175 yards where the birds were roosted, you know, still thick enough to where I wasn't worried about spooking them, but I didn't think I could get much closer. And then when I looked and saw how much sign it was on this ridge, I mean, just scratching, just tore up. I mean, that was all I needed to see. And plus with these deadfalls right here, it was a perfect spot to set up. And I knew I was gonna need that because this is pretty much wide open timber. You know, as soon as I saw them from 150 yards away, you know, they could see up to me. So that setup worked out perfect. I was confident to let them just keep on coming and get well within range before I started to think about taking a shot. Plus, there was 4 turkeys total. There was 2 longbeards and 2 hens in there, so I had to make sure turkeys were separated far enough before I was gonna take the shot. But it's pretty cool to have it work out where, you know, we came in and scouted and, you know, found sign back in February, found a couple sheds that day. Just a picture perfect morning. Well, I'm not sure what you would have done in this situation, but this made the most sense to me at the time. And there's likely more than one way that this hunt could have ended with a gobbler over my shoulder. Perhaps being more aggressive and going after the birds would have worked too. But one thing I've noticed in the past several years is that we've had a number of successful hunts that have played out just like this. Here's an example from 2022. Aaron, Patrick Whiteman, and I got set up a few hundred yards away from a couple of gobblers on the roost. We noticed fresh scratching close to where we set up, and similar to my hunt, the gobblers were answering Aaron's calls, but once they flew down and got with the hens, they went quiet. But instead of being impatient and immediately giving up, or just going marching through the timber going after the birds trying to find them, we sat tight and gave the situation time to unfold. We were in fresh sign, and we knew that the gobblers had pinpointed Aaron's calling.
That's closer.
Sure enough, 30 minutes later, a tom sounded off closer to our position, and we knew we were in business at that point. With a little bit of light calling and scratching, the gobblers were quickly bearing down on our setup, and a few minutes later, Patrick hammered the lead tom as he popped up over the ridge.
Doesn't get no better than that, boys.
We were just listening to Mike Pentecost talk yesterday on that podcast. He's like, man, you get one to gobble, answer you, they fly down, don't say much, just sit back, drink your water, eat your snacks. He said, just relax.
When we saw that scratch, and we had a good feeling that they were working this way.
So anyways, it was just some food for thought. Let us know in the comments what's worked well for you in this kind of situation. Good luck this spring, and we'll see you on the next one.
But that scratching, man, when we got up here and seen all that scratching on this ridge, that's undeniable. You know they're in here.